are 21 reasons why Americans wouldn't survive in Germany. Number one would be that your job actually cares about you in Germany. In the US, Americans are so used to their jobs not caring about them that you are replaceable, whereas in Germany, they actually care about your health and your well-being. I had a headache and my job sent me home and told me to take the day off. That would not happen in the US, you know? But that leads into the next two that kind of lead in with your job, and that would be healthcare and vacation. Did you know that the average American only has 10 vacation days a year and only take 5 of those days? The American mentality is, if I take time off of work, then I'm not getting work done, then I'm not making enough money, and then I won't get that promotion and make more money, and it's just this crazy cycle that Americans have. And then healthcare, a lot of people in the US don't have healthcare. Right now, I don't have any healthcare. But unless you are actually dying, no one actually goes to the hospital because of the cost. Germany, those costs are actually much lower because they don't use a lot of the things that we use, where everything has to be name brand in the US. They don't have a lot of name brand stuff in Germany. Moving on to alcohol. So the next two, I think they're 4 and 5, yeah, maybe, would actually have to be cocktails and the shot culture. So cocktails in Germany, it's very hard to find a good cocktail bar in Germany. There are some, but cocktails aren't as big in Germany like they are in the US. Germany has a huge beer culture, which is fine because the beer in Germany is really good. That being said, I'm drinking an American style Kush. It doesn't taste anything like it does in Cologne though. But in the US, the cocktail culture is huge. You have hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands and thousands of different cocktails, whereas in Germany, they stick to the status quo. They have their margaritas, and they have the basic cocktails and long drinks, but beer is the way to go. Shots are huge in the US, considering that we have a white gummy bear shot, a royal flush, a buttery nipple, a blowjob, etc., etc., etc. We have so many different types of shots here in the US. In Germany, not really. You might have tequila, but the tequila in Germany is bleh. And so that leads into the next one is the tequila is awful in Germany. Germany doesn't have a lot of tequila. They have Sierra Nevada, and you have to go to a specialty store in order to find some really good tequila. And that's because they don't have a lot of Mexican stuff. And people always say, you don't go to Germany for Mexican food. Well, when you're living in a country and you are craving something more than just German food, in the US, not everyone eats American every day. You might have Mexican or Italian or Greek. And it's just, you want variety. The Mexican food in Germany is awful. God awful. I don't know who told them that they should make it like that, but it's just awful. It's just like the tequila. It should just go to the trash. And speaking of food, how about the burgers and steaks in Germany? They're not that good at all. Americans love their burgers. I mean, even I eat burgers at least once a week because the burgers are just so good. Germany, it's very, very hard to find a good burger restaurant. Some people will say, oh, Hans im Glück is good, or Burger Hut is good. Burger Hut is actually really good, but Hans im Glück, I really don't like their burgers. Their bread is also not that good. It's just not the right type of burger for me. The next three are all similar because they all tie into one another. So it has to be social media, photos, and filming. Germans don't really use social media. If they do use social media, then it is only for their hobbies. So you might see a lot of people with pictures of cars or pictures of landscape, but they don't really have any photos of themselves. That's because Germans are very private and they don't want anything going on in their life that the government can really track and see, oh, I see what you're doing here. Oh, why are you spending money there? Oh, what about this? They just don't like it. So that kind of leads into filming and photography. Since Germans, again, are very private, if you are recording or taking photos out in public, Germans will come up to you if they think they're in the video or even in the photo and tell you to delete it. You need everyone's permission in order to take photos and whatnot. Whereas in the US, everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Take my photo. I don't really care. Not in Germany. You need everyone's written permission. Datenschutz. Next one would have to be friends. It is very difficult in Germany to make friends. I think this is even more difficult in the South. I'm looking at you, Bayern and Baden-Württemberg. If you are in the West, it will be a little bit easier because they are a little bit more open-minded. So going to Düsseldorf, Cologne, Hamburg, Hanover possibly, they are more open to foreigners, whereas the South, they aren't quite so open. The thing I like the most about Germany is that everyone is brutally honest. And trust me, I love this because I am brutally honest. I am super honest, and people are always like, dang, DQ. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just lie to you? And sometimes it costs me new friendships because I'm too honest sometimes. Is there such thing as being too honest? What about that German language though? I mean, Americans, they have the reputation to not be able to speak other languages. But the most difficult part of the German language for Americans would probably be the der, die, and das, the masculine, feminine, and neuter, because in English, everything pretty much only has one gender. Hey, can you tell me what time it is? Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Oh shoot, I was supposed to be at the party at 8 o'clock. I'll just show up 30 minutes late. That is very American. Germans are very punctual. If they say I will be there at 8, they will be there at 8. Whereas Americans are like, Being on time means you are desperate. So you're supposed to arrive 30 minutes later. If I say a party is starting at 7, that means show up around 9 or 10 o'clock. That's when the party is going to actually happen. What about that transportation though? So transportation in Germany is obviously very different than the US. Germany is a smaller country but has 83 million people, whereas the US has around 350 million people, I think. But we are so big that everything is spaced out, so we need our cars. Whereas in Germany, not a lot of people have cars, and if they do, they are very expensive. My car in Germany cost me a lot of money. It cost me 80 euros to fill up my gas tank, and my insurance is 100 euros a month. Not let alone all the fees and everything else I have to pay. It's very expensive to have a car in Germany. But in the US, it's kind of cheaper. I do pay taxes and I do pay $80 for my insurance, but my gas is $40 and that's expensive in the US, you know? Americans love the flexibility of just having a car and going wherever they want, whereas if you're taking the train, you have to stick to a schedule. Flexibility or schedule? So the housing and apartments are also very different, and this is why Americans probably wouldn't survive. The housing market isn't like it is in the US. Housing is very expensive in Germany because, again, it is a small country and there's not a lot of property available. And so in order to buy a house, those prices are crazy expensive compared to what they are in the US. And Americans just wouldn't be ready for that. It's the how much? And how many taxes do I have to pay? And what about apartments? It is very difficult to find your very own apartment in Germany, whereas a one-bedroom apartment in the US is easier to find. They are a little bit pricey, but they are much easier to find than they are in Germany, again, due to the price and due to there not being a lot of property. You know how many times I will see people on Instagram, my friends up in Berlin, looking for an apartment 4 to 5 months before they're actually moving out, whereas in the US it's like, I move out in 2 weeks, I'll find an apartment. It's that much easier in the US. Another issue would actually be the food sizes. Food size in the US is huge. I mean, supersize me, yeah? Everything is bigger in Texas. But they aren't bigger in Germany. And what about that sugar though? Germans don't use a lot of sugar. Americans would feel very detoxed if they went to Germany and expected the same amount of sugar that they have in the US. But click this video right here to learn more about some of the food in Germany that just wouldn't survive in the US. It's very interesting to see, yeah?